but I was thinking about it when I was in some higher altitude yesterday, and just how important the breath can be in so many different ways. And hyperventilation is it's not what we think it is. It's not, those moments when there's anxiety and panic stricken and someone hands you a brown paper bag and tells you to breathe into it. I mean, of course, that's the old school way of dealing with hyperventilation. And actually that's been debunked. So don't do that if someone you know or you are having some moments of severe hyperventilation. But hyperventilation isn't just the sense of, quick breathing. Many of us hyperventilate on a regular basis without even knowing it, because we tend to breathe in this little shallow window of our upper respiratory system instead of really inflating the lower lungs and allowing for this deeper, fuller sense of our breath. And so a couple things happen when you hyperventilate. Your carbon dioxide level goes low, and we think carbon dioxide is a bad thing, like carbon dioxide, too much of it is a bad thing. But if we have too little of it, it can also be not such a good thing. Our window of tolerance in our body for acid-base balance is really small, and our breath really contributes to having the appropriate level of carbon dioxide in our system. So some of the things that happens when we hyperventilate and our carbon dioxide levels go low is it's called the Bohr effect, where your red blood cells, which carry oxygen to all your tissues, get really sticky, and they don't let go. They're stingy with their oxygen. They hoard it and they won't let it go into the tissues. So even though we have the sense of, I need breath, I have to get breath, and we start hyperventilating, it actually has a paradoxical effect on the tissues of the body, where our muscles, our organs, don't get the oxygen that we're trying so desperately to take in. So really, when you're feeling that sense of oxygen loss, the best thing you can do is slow down your breath and bring yourself more into that yogic breathing that we're constantly trying to cultivate, deep and slow, so that our carbon dioxide levels rise in our body. And this is very healthy, not just for the oxygenation of our tissues, but it's healthy for your brain function. It's healthy for a lot of things in your body. So some of the breath work in yoga is very, very simple, just long, slow inhales, long, slow exhales. Couldn't be more simple than that, right? But it's not easy. A lot of times something simple doesn't translate as easy in the body, especially when we're working hard or concentrating or are stressed in any way. It makes it much more difficult to take the breath down into that deep, slow rhythm. So we need to practice this so that it's cultivated within us, and therefore when we get into stressful situations, it's a tool that we just have easy access to. It's like learning how to tie knots with your fingers. If you've practiced it over and over and over again, you can tie those knots really quickly, even in a stressful situation. So it's not, you have to practice. You have to have the body memory of good breathing within you, so that when you get into a situation, you can take that out and use it whenever you need. So as we practice today, let's think about our breath and enjoy the visualization of releasing oxygen into your cells, that when you control the rhythm of your pace, it's not just your lungs that you're impacting, but really all of you gets this beautiful benefit of ease, the ease of releasing oxygen into your cells. Think about what that must feel like to have that kind of deep cellular ease. So simple technique we're going to work with today through our practice is just breathing slow and deep, trying to get the diaphragm to fully inflate and deflate. The diaphragm is the primary muscle for being able to access this kind of breathing that we want to do. If we're hyperventilating and living up high in our chest, all of the accessory muscles of our breathing, our scalene muscles, our traps, tend to do a lot of the work for us. We're up here. So we're going to work today to really let go and drop the shoulders down and get into the diaphragm and breathe from deep and low in the body, so that we have that right at our fingertips when we need it. So go ahead and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to close your eyes. And let's first just appreciate the ease of breath, the simple act of taking a breath, releasing a breath, and how fortunate we are to have the ease that goes with this. Think of all the people in the world right now who are struggling with breathing, whether it's from the COVID virus or any other number of reasons where people are struggling to breathe. And let's offer them our breath. So begin to slow things down and notice. Maybe it's difficult for you to slow your breath down. Maybe this is a very unusual pattern for you. Let's just take our time feeling the full inhale. And if it's helpful to you to kind of be metronome about it, if you like counting, that can be a mantra in your mind to just count to whatever number you feel you get to in your pace, and make sure the exhale is just as long or even a step or two longer. And if metronome, if that pulse and rhythm and counting isn't for you, listen to the sound of the inhale. Let it be a meditative practice just to hear yourself breathe. And once you find a pathway to a good cadence of slow breath, start to feel what it feels like to breathe. Can you notice the temperature of the air at your nostrils when you breathe in? Can you follow the pathway of your breath through your nose, down into your trachea, to your bronchi, to your bronchioles, all the way to the very bases, the alveolar sacs at the base of your lungs? And reverse that flow on the way out. Start to become familiar with the sensations of breath, not just the muscular action that enhances your breathing, but the actual breath moving in and out. And if this is difficult for you, if that quality of interoception, your sensing of the inner self is not super honed, the only way to get there is to practice. So pay attention to what you do feel, visualize what you don't feel to give your body an access point to attempt to understand sensation. And then let's move into the muscular nature of the breath. How are your shoulders? Can you drop them down and relax? Can you let those upper accessory muscles of breathing in your neck and shoulders take a break? Let them rest. And instead, feel the more powerful, bigger muscles in your rib cage, in your diaphragm. Even the muscles in the back of your body, low, in mid back, have a lot of control over the movement of your ribs to allow the breath in and out. So bring your awareness into the muscular sensations that are lower in the rib cage and belly. And let the upper ones rest. This is a simple way to take ourselves away from hyperventilation. Hyperventilation is a high up in the respiratory channels pathway. So if we bring ourselves all the way down to the diaphragm, imagine your diaphragm can drop all the way to the pelvic floor. There's this big open space for it to soften down into and rebound up. Muscular contraction to rebound up into the lung fields and let the breath out. And just explore that dome shape of your diaphragm. Can you feel that it's like a dome in your body? Do you have more sensation in the front side or the back side or the side sides of your diaphragm? Can you feel the little attachments as you inhale and exhale along your rib cage? And the bottom ligament of your diaphragm attaches low in your spine, all the way down to your lumbar spine. Can you feel that? The upper attachments of your diaphragm wrap around your heart. Literally, the ligament turns into the pericardial sac, wrapping around the heart. So can you feel that? Can you feel a little tug on your heart as you inhale and exhale? And let's just try to put all that together. Feel the accessory muscles loosen and soften. The strong breathing muscles have ease in their movement. The rib cage is pliable and free. The face is soft. The sensation of breath going deep, air going deep into your lungs. The ease in which your body releases oxygen into your tissues. Sense that for just a moment. Can you imagine, whatever your visualization is, open hands, letting things go. Whatever allows you to feel that your red blood cells are giving the oxygen freely to your cells. And we've been sitting here for a bit. So just notice, how has your slow, steady breath impacted the state of your mind, the state of your body? Do you feel that calming effect from having your carbon dioxide levels steady? Are you at ease? Okay, let's place our hands. And one more time, offer the grace of your breath outward as a prayer for those who can't. And then set also an intention for your practice. How can your steady breath support you? What is it that you need in your practice today? All right, and let's release the hands and come onto your back. Okay, so lie down. So let's begin by stretching our arms overhead, lengthening the sides of your body. Maybe stretch the right side a little longer, the left, and just follow the natural impulses. There's a back bend living here, so your body, your nervous system might feel invigorated by it. Just see if there's any breath. A lot of times I yawn when I do this, or I want to squeeze and hold my breath for a minute. So just follow your natural impulses as you stretch open the limbs of your body. And then bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. Rock around a little bit. Feel the back side of your body. Feel your spine, your sacrum, your sacroiliac joints. And let's circle the knees a little bit. So maybe circling one direction a few times. Notice if you always go the same way first. Do you have some trodden paths in your body? And then let's go the other way. Spin the knees. Just enjoy the little massage across your sacrum that this gives you. And then knees in, and bring your knees apart from each other and back in. Just start to feel what kind of range of motion you have access to in your hip joints today. Already, can you start discovering some deep breaths? So sometimes it's hard when your knees are up against your chest, but just sense the deep breathing, the diaphragmatic movement. All right, and then right knee into the chest, left leg is long on the floor. Take some time to roll out your ankles, stretch through your feet, wiggle your bare feet. Got some toes that want some freedom, so find some space. Feel a good squeeze of the knee toward the chest. Make sure you're on an angle that feels good. So if you have a little catch in your hip at all, make a little adjustment. Take the knee out to the side more or closer to the midline. And then change sides. Left knee and right leg long on the floor. Stretch out your feet again. Lengthen that right leg. Feel the hip flexors extend a little bit. Feel the crown and tail extending as well. Some good compression in that left hip. All right, and then bring both knees into the chest and hug them pretty tight, and notice the compression across your diaphragm when you compress your knees toward your chest. And just let this be a cueing. Oh, that's my diaphragm. There it is. That's what I'm going to be working with a little bit today. All right, and then inhale, spread out your arms and legs wide on the floor. Starfish, stretch navel to your edges. To fingers to toes, to crown to tail. Then exhale, knees in, head up, squeeze all your air out.
Push the breath like squeezing a sponge. One more time. Inhale, open your full body up. Feel how good it is to expand your rib cage. Then exhale, chest in, squeeze the rib cage in. Let's do that one more time. Feel the diaphragm expand, the rib cage open, the breath full. Exhale all your air out, that little extra residual that you don't let go of. Just see what you can let go, all the breath. We never get rid of our breath entirely. There's always a little bit of a residual volume in our lung fields. But the more you can get out, the more space you make for new. All right, let's roll over onto your side, come up onto your hands and knees. All right, so let's start moving the spine. Let's pay attention to those attachments of the diaphragm at your lumbar spine, L3, L4, as well as right along the where the heart space is. Can you sense what that impacts in your spine? Can you feel the rhythm of movement as you move through some cat-cow? How does your breath naturally want to go? So typically we exhale when we round the spine, navel to spine, head drops. And we inhale as we arch the back, tailbone lifts, head lifts. But maybe that doesn't feel natural to you. So I encourage you to pay attention to how you breathe. Instead of leaving it in the dark, this unconscious pattern, let's bring a little bit of our breathing to the light. Remember that you breathe 15 to 20,000 times a day. So even if we have a few of those in our conscious awareness, that's better than none at all. All right, let's swirl around. So move your body any way that it wants to move. You can move your pelvis around. You can turn from side to side. Get your head involved, your neck. Make sure you're breathing no matter what you're doing. And then settle back, hips toward the heels. Stretch your arms out in front of you. Feel your rib cage open a little bit here. Walk the hands over to the left and open the right side of the body. So there's a whole lot of muscles that control the movement of your ribs. Let's have a little enjoyment for how, the ribs are cool bones. They are bouncy, flexible. They're not, solid and stiff like a lot of the other bones in our body. So let's just have some freedom there. Breathe in, enjoy their bounciness. And then walk our hands over to the other side, reaching to the right. The left rib cage opens. Relax the base of the skull, soften the forehead. Let the brain drop into the forehead a little bit. Rest. Feel those ribs open and broaden on the left side. All the little muscles that help control our rib movement, stretching and opening. And then come up onto all fours again. Inhale, lift the right arm up in the air. Exhale and slide that shoulder down, coming into a twist on this side. Now pay attention to where the ribs meet the spine in the back of your body. Those little joints there, can you bring your breath right into those joints, letting the rib cage find some expansion in the back. And then inhale, reach that arm all the way up to the sky. Place your hand down onto the ground and change sides. Left arm lifting. Exhale, slide that shoulder down. Gaze toward the floor. Press your hand into the ground. Deep breath in, deep breath away. Can you feel those little articulations where the ribs meet the spine, meet the vertebrae? And then inhale and come on up and reach that arm to the sky. Stretch back to child's pose. Put your arms wherever you want them to be. They can be high up, or maybe if your shoulders are bothering you, you need to have them in a different position. And just sense the back of your body breathing. Feel the compression of your knees against the front side of your diaphragm, but the back side's open and free, so let the breath travel. And then we're going to come all the way up into dog pose. So stretch out your hands, stretch out your feet. And this is our first big pose, full pose. So take some time here, maybe pedal your heels, maybe drop a knee, sway a hip, move your head around. Just get into your body, feel the opening begin. And what a beautiful place to breathe when our arms are over our head. There's so much room in our lung fields. So let's just take advantage of this action and open your breath. The other thing that happens in dog pose is our diaphragm shifts in gravity, right? We're upside down. So our exhales, we don't have to work so hard to push the air out. So feel how the diaphragm returns back toward the lung fields easily on your out breath. Can you feel that hollowing through the belly a little bit? Like a shallow pond. All right, and then walk your feet forward, come into Uttanasana. Bend your knees. You can sway through your shoulders and your hips, wiggle out through your body in any way that feels really good to you. Move your head around, move your shoulders. Inhale for a halfway lift. The thigh bones move back, the shin bones move forward, the spine lengthens. Exhale and melt back down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale for a halfway lift. Lift the sit bones, extend the spine. Full breath in, exhale, fully breath out. Push off your feet, rise up. Lift your arms to the sky. Take a breath and place the hands down to your heart. Pause here for a moment. Let's just feel our breath. You can bring your arms down at your sides. Notice if you have a tendency to lift your shoulders as you breathe. See if you can relax the belly. Let the diaphragm move out on the in-breath and back in on the out-breath. If you're a reverse breather where you tend to lift your chest up as you inhale and drop your chest down as you exhale, work hard to try to regulate the diaphragmatic breath. The belly expands, the rib expand on the inhale. Everything comes back in on the exhale. Turn this into some standing cat-cows. Open to a cactus, big open chest. Then exhale, big open chest in the back. Feel the back ribs open. Let's do that one more time. Open. If cactus hurts your arm, your shoulders, take straight arms. Exhale and round in. Interlace your fingers, stretch your palms straight up. Open the rib cage, stretch back, maybe a teeny bit of a back bend lives here. And then release your hands. Interlace your hands the other way, so the weird way, behind your back. Open the chest, bend your knees, and come forward. So the spine and arms might be close, or maybe your arms lift away from the spine pretty far. Whatever you're doing, lift the heads of the arm bones, bring the rhomboids, the shoulder blades toward each other with the work of the rhomboids. Exhale and release the hands down to the ground. Halfway lift, lengthen through the spine. Exhale and fold again. Let's take our blocks if you have them. Step back to a lunge. Our right leg is forward, our left leg is back. Feel the extension through your heart. Take a moment before we start moving. Find the softer muscles in your neck and shoulders so you're not working the breath from there. Feel the opening of your diaphragm. Let's start moving. Exhaling, the diaphragm draws in and up. Inhaling, the diaphragm moves down and broad. And it's harder to sense when we're not, lying down or sitting up when we're actively moving. So just work with what you can find and don't stress. If you're having trouble, the most important thing you can do is just stretch the breath long. So try not to overcomplicate it. Enjoy the hip flexor opening, the hamstring opening. And then the next time you get to a full lunge, let's hang out here for a moment. Find your legs, root into the floor, yield, give your weight over. And then as you're ready, go ahead and lift up. And maybe you want your arms up, maybe you want your arms out. Figure out where your arms can be that brings the best breathing into your body. So forget about, what feels good in your effort and think more what's giving me the best breath. So experiment with some different positions for your arms. What allows the lower rib cage to expand, the diaphragm to drop into the pelvic floor on the inhale. That sense of rebound and core support, diaphragm back in on the exhale. What gives you the sense of long breaths, long inhales, long exhales? And for that matter, that might mean that your back knee needs to come onto the floor. Maybe take away some of the effort so that the breath is your steady pace. All right, and then let's release the hands down to the ground. Bring your back foot forward. Come into Uttanasana again, fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine grows, the femur bones are back, and the shins are forward. Exhale and melt back down. Let's step our right foot back. So now the left foot is forward, the right foot is back, coming into a lunge. Start to move, flowing back and forth with bent and straight legs. Pay attention to the pace of your breath. Pay attention to, even if you have trouble with trying to access the fullness of your diaphragm, one of the sneaky ways to get into the diaphragm is to focus on relaxing all the accessory muscles in your neck and shoulders. So if you disallow them to take over, the diaphragm will wake up more. Just see what you're finding as you're moving. Long, steady breaths. Long, steady breaths. And then next time you get ready to a lunge, find your feet, ground, make sure you're in a place on your mat that feels good. Are you stable? And allow yourself to rise up, crescent lunge. So remember, you can put your back knee on the ground, you can lessen your lunge, you can deepen your lunge. Put your arms in a place that breath is gathered best. Full, steady inhales, long, steady exhales. If you can make the exhales just 1 beat or 2 beats longer than the inhales, this is a beautiful thing for our nervous system. It stimulates the relaxation response in our body. Full breaths. A little core support on the exhales. And then release the hands down. Take your hands onto the floor. Come back to either all fours or to a plank. So you decide where your effort is today. Shoulders away from the ears, finding the breath. Now, it's hard when you're in a pose like this to open the breath up for inhales. A little easier to find the exhales. Let's go ahead and come on down. Find your way safely to the floor. Gentle Sphinx pose. So the forearms are out. You can turn your forearms out. Sometimes this is very helpful. Shoulders are away from the ears. Let's stretch here for a moment. Can you feel that stretch across your diaphragm? We're going to do some little diaphragm push-ups in this position in a little while. So just sense what the breathing feels like here. Core support for your lumbar spine. So try not to forget that you can use your glutes and your core muscles to stabilize your back. And then let's go ahead and release and come back down. Pick up your feet, windshield wiper your knees, left and right. If you're comfortable to put your feet down and put your hands underneath your forehead for a moment, let's try this. And if it's not comfortable to be on your belly, come up on all fours. Find your breath. What does it feel like to breathe into the back of the body? So much of our awareness on our breath lives in the front. So let's live in the back. Feel yourself. Feel the ribs move. Feel the shape of your lumbar spine change as the tug happens from the attachment of your diaphragm. When the diaphragm contracts and expands, it will change the shape of your lumbar spine. Sense that. Back body breathing. And let's go ahead and come up onto all fours. Take some time onto your hands and knees and do whatever feels good. So you can do some pelvic circles, sway from side to side, do some cat-cows, free up your back. Laying on your belly sometimes is difficult, so just sense into what that feels like. And then as you're ready, turn it into dog pose. Spread out your hands and feet, lengthen, heart lifts toward the pelvis, the sit bones widen. See what it feels like to let the diaphragm fully contract on the exhale. So it's just a little more passive of a contraction when gravity's supporting the action. Now we have to really resist to have the inhale. So feel the big breath in. Feel the breath out. Sense the lower ribs. Sense the diaphragm. Let's walk our feet forward. Come into Uttanasana again. Fold a little bit. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Okay, rise up, reaching the arms to the sky, and then relax. I'm just going to do some little diaphragm I don't have a good shirt on to show you this. It's not tight enough around my belly, but we're going to do some diaphragm pumping just to kind of learn our diaphragm a little bit. So I want you to be very careful with this. I'll walk you through it first. So you're going to lock our elbows and shoulders a little bit, just kind of get yourself stable, but with your hands on your knees. And your belly is going to be totally relaxed. And we're going, let me walk you through it before you do it. So we're going to take a deep breath in, and then all your air out. You're going to hold your out breath just for a few seconds, and you're going to pull all your belly muscles and your diaphragm in, and then push them out, and then in, like a pump, a billows, you know, and only do it for a couple, 3 times, and then find your breath again. So you don't want to hold the out breath for too long, especially, you know, anytime you start manipulating your breathing like this, if you tend to have complicated breath patterns in general, this is not a good thing to do. You know, you want to have a healthy breath place to begin with. So if this is not right for you, you just take a little pause and just do some natural breathing. But let's see what it feels like. So deep breath in, exhale, pump the diaphragm. Inhale, exhale. Let's do it one more time. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Pull all your belly in, push your belly out. Let it be about your diaphragm. You can go as slow or as fast as your body allows you to do. Breathe and relax. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Take a breath, lean back a little bit if it feels good. Cactus, open your chest. And then exhale, bend your knees and float forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and release back down. Let's step our left foot back, come to a lunge. Okay. Find your breath. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Take your arms wherever you want them to be. Let's turn our feet to the side now. So we're going to open up to some warrior poses. So find, and remember, in these poses, you can go very lightly into the pose like this. This does not have to be a super deep pose where you go into a full lunge. And once again, but maybe you just turn your feet straight for a minute. Find wherever you want your arms to be here. Experiment. Place them in different planes and see where your breath is best. Where can you find your breath? So there's no right or wrong place. Wherever you find, that's where your arms are going to stay. Turn your feet. Bring yourself into Virabhadrasana 2. Big open breaths. Close your eyes for a moment. Maybe you want to turn your head, maybe you don't. Can you find the diaphragmatic breathing? Belly expands on inhale. Slow, steady exhale. Imagine the red blood cells freely offering oxygen to your muscles. Breathe through your nose if you can. Now let's turn this into a side stretch. Reach the arm up, extend and open through the ribs. And then go ahead and come on up. Straighten your leg for a moment, give your thigh a little bit of a break, and then come into Parsvakonasana. Now we might need to experiment with some different places for our arms here. Shoulders are away from the ears. Try not to creep them up. This is a pattern of, upper respiratory breathing. Drop the shoulders down, the crown and tail move away. Maybe you want to just keep your hand on your thigh. Maybe you want to lift it up. Maybe you want to bring it out. So find a place that gives you full access to your breath. Steady inhale, full exhale. Go ahead and come on up. Turn your feet to the long edge again. Find your breath. Find a starfish or any position in your body that feels freeing. Let your breath travel from your center to your limbs. Bring it back home again. Let's turn our feet to the other side.
So remember, the pose does not have to be super deep. It can be high. Where do you want your arms? Where did they end up before? Is there a new place for breathing? Is it the same place on this side? Can you feel that your rib cage, your lungs, have bottom inflation? It's not just the top. We're not creeping up. Drop the shoulders down. Of course, you're going to breathe into the top of your lungs. It's not, you don't want to ignore the top of your lungs, but we often ignore the bottom of our lungs. So find those first. Diaphragmatic movement. Exhale, core strength. Turn this into a reverse warrior. Lift that arm in the sky. Feel the extension in your ribs. Open things up. Enjoy. And straighten your leg for a moment. Give your body a little bit of a rest. And then as you're ready, place the elbow on your knee. Shoulders away from the ears. Try to resist the urge to crunch up. Deep rib expansion. Maybe your arm wants to come over your head. Maybe your hand needs to come in the air or down at your side. Just find your place. Keep moving the shoulders away from the ears. Broaden across the chest and collarbones. Find the side bodies, the low side bodies, doing some of the breathing. Long, steady exhales. Let's go ahead and come on up. Turn your feet straight. Come down. Rest here. Bring your hands on blocks or wherever you want them to be. Extending the spine. Maybe floor is better for you. You just decide. And once again, if your head is below your heart and your heart ends up below your pelvis, can you feel the reverse of gravity giving something to your exhales? As you're ready, walk your feet back and turn this into dog pose. So you might need to bring your hands to one side of your mat, your feet on the other. Extend. Full breaths in, full breaths away. Come forward into a plank. And maybe this is a pose that works well for you. Maybe you need to put your knees down onto the ground. Finding your breathing. Full inhales and full exhales. And then lower yourself down to the ground. Come onto your belly. Now we're going to feel those diaphragmatic pumps. We're not going to hold our breath. When we come up into locust pose. So interlace your fingers behind your back. Take a deep breath in. Heads of the arm bones lifting away from the floor. Lift up. Maybe your chest comes up, maybe your feet, maybe one or the other. Whatever you're doing, this is a diaphragmatic push-up. Breathe into your belly. Exhale fully. Feel how your whole body moves because of your breath. All right, and then let's go ahead and relax. Pick up your feet. Relax your arms. Sway from side to side with your feet. Turn your head one way or the other. All right, and then one more time, put your hands underneath your forehead and find your back body breathing. See if you can sense the band of your diaphragm right in the base of your lungs. Go ahead and come up onto all fours. Find your way. Maybe move some cat-cows, maybe do some circles or some swirls or some sways. Finding what's going to nourish your back. And then as you're ready, stretch back to child's pose. Just see what it feels like to root the thigh bones back, relax the forehead. Find the back body breathing here. All right, let's go ahead and find dog pose. Deep breaths. Spread out the bones of your feet. Spread out the bones of your hands. Feel your yielding. Feel your grounding. Feel your breathing. Can you relax all those accessory muscles of breath?
walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Hold a little bit, shake, wag, whatever feels good. And as you're ready, come on up, reaching the arms to the sky. If you're dizzy, squeeze your hands, tuck your chin, maybe even cross thigh over thigh and squeeze those too. This will pump your blood pressure up a little bit if you tend to get dizzy when you stand. And then release the hands down your sides. Pause here for a moment. Let's practice our yielding. So settle into the floor, let your feet drop. See if you can sense, just standing here with your eyes closed, that your diaphragm can drop all the way to the soles of your feet. What would it feel like if you sense that you had mini diaphragms in the soles of your feet? So you breathe the earth, not just breathing the air. Can you drop the shoulders? Let's not rely on all the neck muscles. Bobble your head around a little bit. Give the neck muscles that are subtly do so much of our breathing for us. Let them go. Feel your lungs expand bottom to top. Feel your exhale. It's long and steady. Soften your joints. Your knees are soft. Your hips are soft. Your spine's pliable. Your ribs are bouncy. Breathe your way into the earth. Feel that yielding. Inhale, lift your arms all the way to the sky. Cactus open, maybe a little bit of a back bend feels nice. And then exhale, hand round in. Fold in half. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and let yourself come down. Okay, we're going to come all the way down to the floor. Lie down on your back. Let's just windshield wiper our knees left and right for a moment. So just going back and forth. Your feet are a little wider than your hips. Just go back and forth through the hips. Deep breath in, deep breath away. All right, and then we're going to find, hopefully you have a block. If you don't, it's okay. You can do this actively without a block. So you choose. We're going to come up into bridge pose. So you want to rock onto the tops of the shoulders just a bit and stick a block underneath, low or middle height of the block underneath your pelvis. You want this under your sacrum, across your sacrum, so that you have a broad base of support underneath your pelvis. You can put blankets here too. You could also just be active in this pose, holding yourself up. Find your diaphragm now. See what it feels like to feel the rise and fall of your belly. You're not belly breathing. What's happening is your diaphragm's moving and displacing your abdominal organs, which makes your belly rise and fall, as well as the muscles in your abdomen, your obliques, your transverse abdominis. There's a lot of muscles in your belly that support your breathing. Feel the full inhale, the full exhale. Let the shoulders and neck be very passive in this posture. They're not doing the work. And then if you are really comfortable, you can stay. If you have a little more something to give to this posture, flatten the block on its lowest height and stretch either one or both legs straight on the floor. So your psoas muscles, your deep abdominal muscles, they have a very big relationship with diaphragm. So let's open them up a little bit. There's a lot of attachment sites that they connect right with the diaphragm on the lumbar spine. Feel the diaphragm, deep belly breaths. And then as you're ready, stay on the block. Bring the knees toward the chest, and maybe some traction feels good where your knees come close in. Maybe you'd rather your knees just kind of right over the pelvis. So just see what angle feels best for you. Let your back rest a little bit. Keep breathing. I don't have my watch on, so I keep on having to check the time to make sure I'm not keeping you guys forever. Put my clock here. All right, and then let's go ahead and take the block out from underneath you and come onto your back. Sway from side to side here a little bit. I'm going to just work with a couple of twists and notice how the twists kind of impact our breathing. So let's roll over onto our side and come up onto your hands, come up onto your seat. Okay, so if you need a blanket underneath you, take a blanket underneath you to sit on. Sometimes this can help our pelvis stay in a good alignment, having a little height underneath us. And we're going to start out with just simple cross-leggeds. If this is not comfortable for your knees, you can take a different variation. Okay, we're going to do that one next. All right, so take your left hand behind you as a kickstand to support the lift of your spine. Right arm lifts in the air and then bring it to the outside of the knee. If you can't reach the knee, you can always bring the hand to the other knee. So you don't want to crank the twist with your bones. You want to move the twist with your breath. So back away from your twisting and then slowly let the exhales, the work of the obliques, the work of the deep abdominal muscles that work with the diaphragm on the exhale to push the air out. They also are the same muscles that help us turn. So find your breath, letting the breath guide the twist. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Belly soft and free. Exhale, engage all the muscles around your spine to twist. Another great way to do some diaphragmatic pumping. This is a really good tool to strengthen and stimulate the diaphragm. All right, and let's come back to center. And we're going to come to the other side. So hand behind you to support you. Lift that arm. Either take your hand to the left knee or cross it over to the right knee. Decide what's best for your body. Shoulders are soft. Try not to use those muscles. It's amazing how our traps and our scalenes, these muscles in our neck, tend to creep in. They're like, no, I can do it. I can do it. So just give them a little bit of a break. Tell them to go rest. That's time, nap time. Okay, and find the rest of your body. Feel the deep, strong muscles in your core, supporting the spine on your exhales, creating the twist on your exhales, feeling how the obliques and the transverse abdominis support and work with the diaphragm to find your exhales, to find your twists. Let's come back to the center. Straighten out the right leg, left knee is bent. And you can keep it like this where it's not crossed over, or you can cross your leg over. So you get to decide where you want to be. If you cross it over, you get a little added hip stretch in there, which is nice. So hook your elbow or your forearm around your knee. Lift your spine. Rock forward onto the front of your sit bones. Lift your spine. Bring your hand behind you and twist. So when we hook our elbow if we hook our forearm instead of hooking our elbow around, we tend to back away from the extreme of the twist, which is a very good thing, because then it gives our room for us to make the breath do the twisting instead of finding this deep twist and then trying to figure out how to fill it in with the breath. Start filling it in from the breath in the beginning. Push the belly out on the in-breath. Find a little work of big, expansive belly movements. All right, and then come back to center and let's change sides. Okay, so bring our right knee, cross it over if that feels nice to you. Hook your forearm around your knee. Lift the spine, rock onto the front of your sit bones. Feel the neutral curve in your lumbar spine, so we don't want to roll back. Use your hand behind you to keep that action of the pelvis. Lift the spine and find your breath on find your twist on your breath. Let the twist happen as an organic expression of breathing instead of pushing into the breath and then trying to breathe, or pushing into the twist and then trying to breathe within the twist. Let the breath be the twist. Steady the breath, slow and steady. All right, come back round. Pick up your feet. Curl in a little bit, let your back round a bit here. Tuck your chin. Let's go ahead and come on out of there and come back onto your back. Find your breath. Lie down. Bend your knees. We're going to just do reverse pigeon pose, but in a moment. First, just find a couple of beautiful breaths. All right, and then bring your knees into your chest. Rock around a little bit. And we're going to either cross your right thigh over your thigh or put your right foot on your left knee and come into reverse pigeon pose. Okay, so feel free to rock, just opening the hips up a little bit. Always try to sneak in a little bit of hip stretching in your yoga practice. Spine is long, breath is deep, deep and slow. Are you getting a greater sense that the diaphragm moves when you breathe? Are you belly breathing a little bit more? Are you letting the belly muscles move as you breathe instead of relying on the neck and shoulders? Let's unwind this. 2 feet flat on the ground. Take a long, steady inhale. Long, steady exhale. Put your left foot on top of your right knee. Reach and grab your your shin or your hamstrings. Find what way that you are able to support yourself in this pose. The neck is soft. You can always put a little pillow under your head if you tend to pull your shoulders up and need a little bit more support. Soft neck and shoulders. Deep belly breathing. Let's go ahead and relax. Final twist. Lift up your hips, scooch them right, knees up, drop them left. Deep breath in, deep breath away. And then bring your knees up. Scooch your hips the other way, drop your knees. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And then inhale and come back up. And time for Shavasana. So you support yourself however you best support yourself. So how does your body need to be? Do you need to have support underneath your knees? Do you need to have support under your head? Where are you best situated for really good breathing? And then as you find yourself coming into a relaxed state on the floor, what does it take to let the breath slow itself down, to enjoy as you are coming into Shavasana, that you have the accessory muscles loose and soft, to have the belly muscles free to receive. The diaphragm doesn't have to work super hard. It's not this push-pull, push-pull, but that there's freedom to be had for your breath. And just as we loosen the tethers of our diaphragm and rib cage so that we can breathe freely and gently,
Loosen the tethers of your red blood cells and visualize your body getting all the oxygen it needs. Slow, steady breaths. Let's begin to deepen our breathing. Once again, trying to sense a slow, steady pathway of breath. Relying on your strong engine of your diaphragm. Opening up your red blood cells and letting them spill oxygen into your cells. And just enjoy the imprint of good breathing. Let's begin to move. Stretch and breathe. Stretch and breathe. Any kind of movement that feels good to you. Come on to your side as you're ready. And let's go ahead and push ourselves up to sit. Take your time. And let's place our hands together at our heart and just offer our good, easy breathing outward once again. Share the ease of your breath like this energy field that can just spread out with ease, spilling your breath to others. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. So good to see you all.